I think here's an unexpected milestone, and here's what I mean by this. Did you know that McLaren Racing allegedly has officially joined Hedera in terms of the council? Now, nothing I say is financial advice, but here's the thing. McLaren Racing, we already know about its partnership with Hedera. We already knew that, right? But joining the Hedera Council, that's unexpected, in my opinion. Who would have thought that? I didn't think about that. But officially, it allegedly is the case. Even Hedera made a post about it. So here's the thing. What did we also see recently when it comes to Hedera? We saw FedEx joining Hedera's council, right? Furthermore, we've seen historically something like Mondelez joining the Hedera Governing Council. Now, Mondelez, by the way, one of their brands is Oreo. Another one is Cliff, like the Cliff bar. So that's pretty impressive. Furthermore, even Google is a part of Hedera's Governing Council. So at the end of the day, when I take a look at something like Hedera, wow, I'm pretty impressed actually, even though as of right now, of course, HBAR isn't doing the best in terms of the charts, but I can't deny those accomplishments, right? I can't deny those milestones and deem it as not great, because I actually think it is pretty great, and I think it's pretty awesome actually what it has been able to accomplish so far, basically. So when I take a look at people telling me, oh, Hedera is cooked, they say it's done, they say it's no more, I just don't have that type of feeling, because keep in mind, when it comes to HBAR, people like to tell me that, oh, it's done for because the market cap as of right now is under 4 billion. Well, keep in mind, HBAR is currently ranked 23rd in the world in terms of market cap within this space. That's pretty massive in my opinion. Like, here's the thing, HBAR has had such a massive pullback. It's to the point that if it could just go back to the market cap we saw back in January of 2025, so we're talking about slightly over a year ago, if it could just go back to that point, we're over 3 times lower than that. So again, we're over 3 times lower. HBAR doesn't need a hypothetical altcoin season anymore, in my opinion, if it could just go back to that point from where it is as of right now. Now, people like to say, well, could HBAR go lower? Well, I mean, I can't control this. How would I know exactly what could happen? So in theory, maybe, right? But at the same time, if it does hypothetically go lower, all it means is that it's just even farther away from where it was just back in early 2025. At which point, if HBAR goes back to that point, I'm going to sizzler. So for accumulation, for dollar cost averaging, in my own perspective, right? The lower it is, the happier I'd be for accumulation. It doesn't mean that I want it to be low forever. No, why would I want that? But the market doesn't ask me for permission. The market doesn't ask for my input, right? If it did, I wouldn't want things to have like a moment where the sentiment just became like this. No way. I don't want a bad sentiment when it comes to this space. I want a good sentiment, but I can't control that, right? So if things are low, I can take a look at it either in a glass half full or in a glass half empty type of vibe. In which case, I could just say, oh yeah, the project's done for, it's cooked, whatever. And I could leave. I mean, it's all voluntary for me anyways, right? But on the flip side, the way to take a look at it is I could view it as I still like the project, yet it's lower than before, but I didn't mind dollar cost averaging before at a higher point. So why would I complain right now? That's just my perspective, because if it could just go back to a previous point, in which we once saw literally back in 2025, I'm already very happy. The thing about HBAR is, if let's say HBAR from around a 13 billion market cap, in which it did achieve back in January of 2025 at a certain point, again, if the pullback was only to like, 8 billion or like around a 10 billion market cap, if let's say HBAR for whatever reason held up a lot better than right now, if it did that, and let's say HBAR from around 8 or 10 billion market cap went back to around 13 billion, then it's like really boring at that point. It's like, who cares? But because HBAR is below a 4 billion market cap, if it goes back to around 13 billion, I'm going to sizzler. Keep in mind, Hedera is literally, in some cases, just completely different from a lot of its competition. Let me explain why. Hedera, unlike a lot of its competitors, it's just different fundamentally because Hedera Hashgraph does not use traditional blockchain technology. It uses something called a directed acyclic graph. It's just different. Now, people like to say, well, being different doesn't make it better. Yes, in some cases that may be the case, but when it comes to a directed acyclic graph, usually we see amazing scalability, amazing speed, and also energy consumption is typically kind of a lot lower than some other projects out there that do use traditional blockchain technology. Now, why could low energy consumption, being scalable and all that, being fast, why could that be a net positive for something like Hedera moving forward? Well, it's because what uses a lot of energy? Usually, AI. So other projects out there that consume a lot of energy and use traditional blockchain technology, sure, some people may like it for the use case of AI, but what about a directed acyclic graph? What about Hedera, right? That's the way you take a look at it. So that may matter. Maybe in the past for like, projects that aren't really related to AI, like let's say for games or something like that, maybe it wouldn't really matter too much. But when it comes to like AI, where these slight advantages do matter in a lot of cases, this could maybe be a place for AI projects. We'll wait and see though. That's the way you take a look at it. However, furthermore, I just still like the narrative overall when it comes to Hedera. Being a first of all partner when it comes to McLaren Racing, that's pretty difficult, especially when that partnership was announced because the space wasn't doing the best. Furthermore, even having McLaren Racing join the Hedera Council, I mean, that's like really impressive. Not that easy to achieve. Some other projects out there are shutting down. Not in terms of the token, I mean, it's still around in a lot of cases for other projects, but in terms of like the actual project, the team, and all that, a lot of them have just shut down. And I think it may be as a result of not correct, right, or unwise capital management. In some cases where a lot of other projects out there thought that, the market was going to keep doing good. And because it was doing really good, the market, it allowed for the high overhead, right? But what happened? When the market had a pullback, some other projects out there, they kept the same amount of overhead. But if there's nothing to cover that, then sometimes they're cooked. In which case, we see a lot of projects out there pretty much announce that they're stopping operations, which is unfortunate because, why would we want to see a project, basically stop operations like that? But I think it kind of showcases sometimes the reality of this space where some projects out there simply can't continue. They just can't make it through, in some cases, the moments when the market isn't doing the best. But if I still see something like Hedera having new partnerships, having new entities join their council, I just think that it kind of showcases to me that even despite this market downturn, it's still doing its thing. It seems like it's quote unquote business as usual, as they would say. Or should I say, as the old saying goes, right? So when I take a look at Hedera, I'm still a fan when it comes to the project. I haven't given up. And furthermore, when I take a look at just the uniqueness alone when it comes to Hedera, that sometimes is just already kind of enough because a lot of other projects out there, they're just using traditional blockchain technology. It's kind of hard to stand out in some cases. It's like if, let's say, everyone used a green t-shirt and let's say someone else comes along and uses a purple t-shirt, then it just stands out automatically by default. When I take a look at Hedera overall, I just haven't given up. I could, but I don't want to. I'm still dollar cost averaging once a month when it comes to HBAR. Again, if people like to tell me, oh, this project that's ranked 389th is going to make it. Oh, this project that's ranked 725th is going to make it. If that is the case, why wouldn't a 23rd ranked project within this space in terms of market cap suddenly not make it if they could? So that's just sometimes my thought. Like, okay, if a 23rd ranked project can't make it, why would a 728th project randomly make it, but then this one can't? That's just kind of my analogy. So I personally haven't given up, but I am not telling anyone to do anything. However, I just thought that recent McLaren Racing news, I just thought it was a unexpected milestone actually, because that seemed very impressive and it just kind of came out of nowhere. So I felt like talking about it. However, I just want to say thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it and I hope you all have a very nice day. And I'll be sure to make more updated videos when it comes to Hedera moving forward. So hopefully y'all stay tuned for that. It's been Lee the Captain. I'm on peace. Bye.